Coming up on Arirang News, the government has unveiled its reform plans for the ailing pension system, the first in 21 years, though approval is needed from the National Assembly. We delve into the specifics of the government's proposal. In what is the New Zealand Prime Minister's first visit to South Korea in more than 9 years, Seoul and Wellington agreed to elevate bilateral ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership by next year. Seoul's art scene is heating up as a global art fair, Frieze and KIAF Seoul, both kicked off in Gangnam-gu district, marking the third collaboration between the two fairs. We bring you the vibe. Thank you for joining us on Arirang News. I'm Kim Bo-kyung. The government today announced the details of its pension reform plan. It suggests a higher pension contribution rate, but at different paces for different age brackets. The plan also includes enhanced benefits for military personnel and new mothers. Our Shin Ha-young has the details.
The government's pension reform proposal focuses on fairness and sustainability. The Health Ministry on Wednesday announced a plan that includes gradually increasing the pension contribution rate from the current 9% to 13%. However, the pace of increase will vary by age group to ease the long-term burden for the younger generation.
For those in their 50s, who will receive more benefits compared to their contributions, the rate will rise by 1 percentage point annually over 4 years. For those in their 20s, who will contribute the most over a longer period, it will rise by 0.25 percentage points annually over 16 years.
The government also plans to maintain the current gross pension replacement rate, which is 42%, that being the percentage of pre-retirement wages people will receive at the end.
It was originally set to reach 40% by 2028. However, considering public feedback on the need for both financial stability and better retirement income, it will be raised to 42%.
Details of the proposal came after President Yoon-Luxon pledged to reform the pension system as the country's rapidly aging society faces the possible depletion of pension funds by 2056. Under the plan, the national pension fund's deficit would be delayed by 13 years and its depletion by 16 years. The government is also looking at adding a so-called automatic adjustment system, which adjusts pension payout amounts based on factors including population changes and economic conditions. The government plans to extend the birth credit benefit too, which was previously available only from the birth of a second child, to include the first child and apply it immediately upon childbirth. The plan also includes expanding military service credit to recognize the entire duration of mandatory military service rather than the current 6 months. Marking the first government pension reform in 17 years, the proposal is subject to approval by the National Assembly. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
In other news, more emergency rooms around the country have begun to reduce their opening hours due to a lack of manpower. The government is deploying military medical officers to the hospitals to fill the gap amid growing concerns. Our Lee Si-woo reports.
The severe shortage of doctors and the consequent reduction in operating hours of emergency rooms that first occurred outside Seoul are also beginning to affect hospitals in the greater capital region. Beginning Wednesday, Ewha Women's University Mokdong Hospital's Regional Emergency Center, which serves Seoul's southwestern districts, will reduce its operating hours. It will not take in any new patients from every Wednesday evening until the following morning, except for the upcoming Chuseok holiday week. Also, Aju University Hospital in Gyeonggi-do Province will only take in a limited number of patients on Thursdays, while the Catholic University of Korea Yeouido St. Mary's Hospital, located in Seoul's main financial district, is reportedly mulling over reducing operational hours during the holiday. The decisions follow in the footsteps of medical centers in Gangwon and Chungcheongdo Province at the start of this week. In response, the government on Wednesday deployed additional military medical officers to hospitals, following a series of similar placements earlier this year.
Government is initiating the 8th deployment of medical doctors today. Of the total 250, 15 deployed today, are placed in 5 medical centers with the most urgent need for medical personnel.
The plan is to deploy all 250 doctors by next Monday. Of 409 emergency rooms in South Korea, 27 are on reduced operation, according to the ministry.
Over 90% of doctors who worked in emergency rooms have left. The government is doing its utmost to preserve the system through measures including the daily monitoring of the situation at hospitals.
Despite such efforts, patient groups in the country are calling for better government response measures and for doctors to return to their posts. Many doctors walked out of their jobs after the government announced plans to increase the enrollment quota of medical schools in February. 이시후, Arirang News.
South Korea-New Zealand summit took place earlier today at the Yongsan Presidential Office. The two nations will now start working to upgrade bilateral ties into a comprehensive strategic partnership by next year. Our Presidential Office correspondent Kim Do-yeon has the latest.
South Korea and New Zealand on Wednesday agreed to advance discussions to upgrade their bilateral relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership from the current Partnership for the 21st Century established in 2006. The goal is to adapt the relevant framework by 2025. This came from a joint statement following a summit between President Yoon-Luxon and New Zealand Prime Minister Yoon-Luxon held at the Yongsan Presidential Office. Prime Minister Yoon-Luxon arrived around 11:20 a.m. and proceeded to the summit after a short welcoming ceremony where they greeted each other and highlighted the depth of the bilateral ties.
뉴질랜드는 6.25 전쟁에서 우리와 함께 싸운 오랜 우방국으로서 뉴질랜드 참전 용사들의 숭고한 희생은 대한민국 발전의 초석이 됐습니다.
It's a country best known to New Zealanders for the energy and the creativity of your K-pop and your TV shows. It's the birthplace of a very famous Korean Kiwi, Lydia Ko, an Olympic champion golfer, someone who's just recently won the British Open, and I think she embodies the very best of both New Zealand and Korea.
In the meantime, the joint statement specified ways to expand bilateral ties in trade, regional security, and civilian exchanges. Especially regarding North Korea, President Yoon-Luxon emphasized the need to stand together as like-minded nations.
러브 군사 협력, 우크라이나 전쟁 등 전체주의, 권위주의 세력의 도전이 지속되는 엄중한 상황에서 한국과 뉴질랜드를 포함한 가치 공유국들 간의 연대는 그 어느 때보다 중요합니다.
In fact, through the statement, both sides condemned, quote, in the strongest possible terms, the increasing military cooperation between the DPRK and Russia. New Zealand also showed its support for President Yoon's August 15 Unification Doctrine, which was unveiled by the President on Liberation Day, becoming the first nation to openly support the doctrine, which mainly talks about unification on the basis of liberal democracy. In terms of trade and economic cooperation, the two nations noted that it's been a successful decade since the Korea-New Zealand FTA came into effect, which has doubled the trade volume between the two countries. In addition, both sides decided to launch a regular bilateral economic security dialogue to discuss economic security challenges and opportunities. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
President Yoon also aims to expand South Korea's partnership with the Czech Republic based on their shared liberal democratic values and cooperation on building nuclear power units in the Central European country. This came on Wednesday as the South Korean leader met Czech National Security Advisor Tomáš Pojar, who is visiting Seoul this week. Yoon said that Prague's recent choice of Team Korea as the preferred bidder for the construction of the new Gov't nuclear power plant shows the strong will of both countries to strengthen their cooperation. He added that he hopes his upcoming visit to the Czech Republic will further strengthen the bilateral strategic partnership established 9 years ago. Pojar said that his government aims to bolster comprehensive cooperation not only in the nuclear power sector, but also in industry, investment, defense, transportation, and research and development. He said the Czech Republic is confident that it will sign a final contract with Team Korea for the construction of the Dukovany nuclear power plant project. According to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, North Korea is launching a new wave of balloons, likely carrying garbage towards South Korea. It's possible that the balloons may reach the northern regions of Gyeonggi-do province in the greater capital area. The JCS has warned people to be aware of falling objects and to call nearby military or police facilities if faced with such balloons. This is Pyongyang's 12th launching of balloons towards South Korea and the first in 25 days. Over in Ukraine, Russian forces continue to conduct deadly airstrikes in the city of Poltava on Tuesday, only to strike yet another western city, Lviv, the next day. U.S. President Joe Biden has strongly condemned the missile attacks, promising to continue supporting Ukraine. Cha Yoon-kyung brings the latest.
In one of the deadliest single attacks since the start of the Ukraine war nearly 2.5 years ago, a Russian airstrike on a Ukrainian military educational facility on Tuesday killed more than 50 people and injured over 200. According to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, 2 ballistic missiles struck the facility and a nearby hospital located in the city of Poltava. The head of the city's military administration said that at least 10 residential buildings were damaged at the educational facility. The Associated Press said the facility had been training communications and electronics officers, as well as drone pilots. Ukraine's defense ministry said the missile struck as people were evacuating after air raid sirens started blaring and called the attack barbaric. In addition, on Wednesday, there was another air attack on Ukraine's western city of Lvov, not far from the border with Poland, killing 7 people and injuring more than 30, according to regional officials. Russia also hit Kyiv and several other regions with missiles on the same day, but no immediate damage was reported. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden strongly condemned the missile attacks, which left more than 57 people dead, promising continuous support for Ukraine. President Biden said in a statement from the White House that he condemns this deplorable attack in the strongest possible terms, adding that this assault is a tragic reminder of Putin's ongoing and outrageous attempts to break the will of a free people. Biden reiterated that the United States will continue to stand with Ukraine, including providing necessary air defense systems and capabilities to protect the country, adding the people of Ukraine will prevail in this war, not Russia. Cha Yoon-kyung, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, stocks on Wall Street tumbled on their first day of trade for September amid renewed concerns over the U.S. economy. Our Yoon covers the closing numbers and more.
New York stocks plummeted on Tuesday due to disappointing U.S. economic data, and the uncertainty about the Federal Reserve's future interest rate decisions also contributed to the declines. All 3 major indexes experienced their biggest daily percentage drops since August 5th due to fears of economic recession in the U.S. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed down around 1.5%, and the S&P 500 shed more than 2%, while the tech-heavy Nasdaq dropped by more than 3%. U.S. markets were closed on Monday for Labor Day, and Tuesday's trading marked the start of a new month. Tech giant Nvidia saw shares drop over 9% to close at $108, the largest single-day market value loss for a U.S. company at around $280 billion. The AI chip maker was the weakest performer among the so-called Magnificent Seven stocks, reaching its lowest point since August 12th. In early August, stocks fell sharply due to concerns about a U.S. recession. The S&P 500 fell more than 7% before recovering, and all 3 major stock indexes ended August with gains. The U.S. government will release its August jobs report on Friday, marking the first major economic update of the month. Additionally, Wall Street may face seasonal challenges as September has historically been one of the weakest months for markets. Yoon-hee, Arirang News.
Back to domestic news. 2 of South Korea's major art fairs opened today, providing a wide variety of artworks. Our An Sung-jin went over to take a look at both KIAF Seoul and Frieze Seoul 2024.
2024 is the year when culture truly flourishes in South Korea, especially for art. KIAF Seoul, which first opened in 2002, is South Korea's first international art fair. This year's edition began on Wednesday and is hosted by the Galleries Association of Korea. It presents both traditional and contemporary art from a total of 206 galleries from 22 countries around the world. Another exhibition started on Wednesday as well, the third edition of the Frieze Seoul. This year's Frieze Seoul Art Fair hosts more than 100 galleries from Asia and beyond with a focus on contemporary art. It aims to bring an array of work that represents the vibrant and dynamic art scenes both inside and outside of Korea.
Well, I like to think that Frieze Seoul provides a wide breadth of great art. They have some of the best artists in the world practicing. We have great institutions, great collector base. So I think Frieze Seoul choosing Korea was more of a validation of the incredible art scene that was already here.
The Frieze Art Fair is one of the world's most influential contemporary art fairs, being held in London, New York, and LA. Frieze Seoul 2024 showcases the history of art across the past 1,000 years through the Frieze Masters Corner, while the Focus Asia section displays 10 rising artists within Asia.
This focus section is like an art fair, but it sponsors and supports experimental young artists and galleries. Through these solo booths, you can enjoy a lot of experimental artwork that has a sense of freedom.
Frieze Seoul this year delves into a number of Korean artists like Baek Nam-jun, Park So-bo, and Seo Do-ho, and puts the spotlight on other renowned artists such as Yayoi Kusama and Andy Warhol.
We've considered Korea as a market that we should try and break through. It's a market that's clearly in growth, and it's a market that we certainly don't want to miss out on.
The rich culture from these artist-run exhibitions adds to the cultural experience, and Frieze Seoul will run until September 7th, while KIAF Seoul until the 8th. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
An international climate industry expo is currently taking place in Korea's southeastern city of Busan. This year, it's highlighting the importance of achieving carbon neutrality while showcasing various climate technologies from both home and abroad. Our Lee Soo-jin has the story.
South Korea is moving to further advance its transition into a sustainable, carbon-free society. As part of these efforts, the government is hosting the 2024 World Climate Industry Expo for 3 days in Busan starting Wednesday, under the theme of ushering in a carbon-free energy era with climate technologies. This year's expo is also significant because it's being co-hosted by the International Energy Agency.
The Korean government, working with the IEA hand in hand to put this expo together, and the companies, governments, who position themselves rightly in the next chapter of the global energy economy will have an advantageous position.
And true to its theme, the climate technologies of more than 180 companies and government-affiliated organizations worldwide are being showcased. RWE, a German renewable energy company, is in attendance to expand its Korean offshore energy pipeline. Offshore energy involves generating energy from resources located at sea, and RWE is known for its offshore wind technology that harnesses power from water-based wind turbines. South Korea is considered a promising market for international companies like RWE due to its ambitious decarbonization goals.
We feel Korea has a strong need to decarbonize in order to keep an export competitive economy. Many of the Korean companies have already been exporting many different products, whether they be wind turbine towers.
Korean companies have become globally recognized for their climate technology, such as POSCO Holdings with Hyrex or hydrogen reduction steelmaking.
There is a huge focus on developing technology that will help achieve carbon neutrality in the steel industry, which is why many companies abroad are showing interest in our Hyrex technology.
And in the public sector, Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power was chosen in July as a preferred bidder to build nuclear reactors in the Czech Republic. A model of the APR 1400, the basis for the APR 1000 reactor that's part of the Czech deal, was on display at the event. With demand for climate technology expected to continue growing worldwide as nations strive to transition to a more sustainable future, South Korea is expected to emerge as a leader in this sector with advanced technologies like these. 이수진, Arirang News, Busan.
Today, September 4th, is Taekwondo Day. And this year, a special event celebrated both the day and the 30th anniversary of Taekwondo's inclusion in the Olympic Games. At this, a new futuristic type of Taekwondo competition was introduced as well. Our Chae Soo-young tells us about the past, present, and future of this martial art.
On Wednesday, a grand ceremony for Taekwondo Day was held at Taekwondo 1 in Mujugun County, Jeollabuk-do Province. Taekwondo, a traditional Korean martial art, was officially introduced as an Olympic sport on September 4th in 1994. Because of this, South Korea has designated the date as Taekwondo Day each year. This year, the ceremony celebrated both Taekwondo Day and the 30th anniversary of its inclusion in the Olympics. Gold medalist Park Tae-jun and Kim Yoo-jin from the Paris Olympics a few weeks ago also participated in the celebrating the day.
I've been here often, so the event felt more relaxed and comfortable for me. I'm also grateful that we were invited to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Taekwondo.
It was so nice to be here, because I'm familiar with this place.
Moreover, the first ever 2024 International Virtual Taekwondo Urban Championships created by the Taekwondo Promotion Foundation were held. Virtual Taekwondo is a new type of Taekwondo competition that takes place in a virtual space. Players attach sensors equipped with motion tracking technology to their arms and legs with VR equipment and compete as virtual characters in a digital space. Unlike traditional Taekwondo, age and weight classes don't matter in this format. In the championships, 35 competitors from 5 countries, including South Korea, Singapore, and Rwanda, will compete until Thursday. The chairman of the TPF expressed that it envisions a new leap forward through virtual Taekwondo.
September 4th marks 30 years since Taekwondo became an Olympic sport, and our Taekwondo Promotion Foundation is now focused on the next 30 years for Korea.
Lee Da-bin, this year's bronze medalist in the Paris Games, also stated that she enjoyed the unique appeal of virtual Taekwondo through a match at the event.
It felt like a very short time and was less exhausting. I could use various kicks without any hesitation. I think one of the biggest advantages is that players can compete without physically fighting. I believe viewers will find it very entertaining.
The International Olympic Committee decided to create an official esports Olympics, and the first edition will be held in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in 2025. South Korea plans to register the virtual Taekwondo as an official sport in the first ever esports Olympics, preparing a new future for the Korean martial art. Chae Soo-young, Arirang News, Muju.
This morning, heatwave advisories were expanded to southern Gyeonggi-do Province, Chungcheong-namdo Province, and the Jeollado Provinces. There's no special warning in Seoul, but it was hot like summer today. Tomorrow, it will move down a bit to 28 degrees. Autumn rain will fall tomorrow in the Seoul metropolitan area, Chungcheong-do, and some parts of Jeollado Provinces and Jeju Island. Since the amount will be as small as 5 to 10 millimeters, it is not expected to cool down the heat completely. Temperatures in some parts of the central areas of the country will only briefly fall below 30 degrees during the rain. Tomorrow, Daejeon and Gwangju will start off at 22 degrees. Highs will move up to 32 in Daejeon, Gwangju, and Jeju. There's more rain forecast on the East Coast, and showers will pass elsewhere between Friday and Saturday. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world. That's all we have for today. Thank you for watching. Arirang News will be back at 9 a.m. Korea time.